do all that nonsense.
Changing up today. I got it, guys. Hey, every one of you is here for a reason, for a purpose. All right? You're not here by accident. We wanted you here. We brought you here. You have a gift. Bring that gift to the table today, man. Bring it to the table. We talked all week about finishing. Finish every block. Finish every tackle. Finish every play. And finish the damn game. Let's go. Let's go. Vikings on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Freebeats.io. Get this beat untagged for free at freebeats.io. Freebeats.io.
We're building full of dream chasers in here. You want to come join us?
All right, everybody, welcome in to Load the Box. My name is Jordan Hawthorne. I am joined, as always, by Will Goodwin. Will, we're just gonna jump right into it this week. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I am gonna ask you how you've been. We did have to take a week off last week, unfortunately. We won't get into everything, but we're back this week. We're going to do a little bit of last week's stuff, and then we're going to do the Green Bay preview. But on a personal level, how has your 2 weeks been?
It's been good. It's been very full. I had a business trip for my day job and was out in Detroit Only ran into a few Lions fans, so stayed relatively tame. But I actually got sick over the weekend too, so I was kind of under the weather. So I'm getting healthier now, though, ready to break down some Packers and get rolling. How about yourself?
Yeah, no, it's been a pretty fun time. Excuse me. Just been busy. I think everybody's busy, especially if you're a big football fan. This is the time of year everybody's looking forward to. There's a game on literally tomorrow night, Thursday night football between the Bills and the Rams. Excuse me, but we can get into that game whenever we start Load the Box Rams or Load the Box Bills. Before we do break down this Packers game this week, we did miss the final 53 and that whole thing happening. And excuse me, I feel like I've got something like stuck in my throat and I'm dying over here. We missed the final 53 getting cut down. I think the biggest news, at least to me, was the Emil Smith-Marset cut. A wave, whatever it is, followed by the trade for Jalen Rago. What were your thoughts on that initially? It really took me by surprise. Do you think this all just boils down to Emil Smith-Marset couldn't reliably catch punts?
It's an interesting one, and I feel like there might be something apart from just his play on the field, quite frankly, that led the Vikings to make this move, because it feels a little bit drastic. Yes, he wasn't catching punts consistently and was a little bit jittery back there, but they wouldn't have had to straight up cut him or waive him to make that work. They could have traded him. They could have. Frankly, I think if I was the general manager, I probably would have cut Jalen Naylor. Because I didn't see much from him in training camp or in the preseason to warrant a roster spot for him. Honestly, I thought he was behind a few of the guys they let go. So that was interesting to me. I don't want to start any false rumors or anything, but I have heard some rumors that ISM wasn't the best locker room guy. And I think that could have had something to do with it. I mean, if you look at the collaboration and the togetherness that Kwesi and O'Connell are preaching. If there's a sour apple or a rotten apple, you might want to get them out. And I think, I don't know, that could be part of it. I think there's also, I think you and I were talking about this a little bit over the last couple weeks too, where it might have kept Naylor, frankly, because there's more upside there and he's their draft pick. Smith-Marset wasn't showing enough to where he was far and away, going to lock down the wide receiver 4 position for the next 3 years or anything like that. Although I did think he showed enough to make the team. So I'm a little bit, and then after the Reagor move, I thought there was honestly, I think the Vikings might have given up a little too much for Reagor. I think there was a, remind me, I think, was it a 4th round pick and then a conditional pick for the following year or something?
I thought it was like it was a guaranteed 7th next, like in 2 drafts, and the next draft it's a 5th that can turn into a 4th if certain criteria are met. I have no idea what those criteria are.
So yeah, I mean, maybe that's not too much. I think when I saw 2 draft picks, I was a little bit, I raised my eyebrows at it. But the thing that is exciting about Reagor is his ability to return punts, and he's one of the best in the league at it. He's not just someone who's serviceable. He can actually turn on the jets and no pun intended there, Justin Jefferson. That's a comparison that's never gonna, be let off the hook for Reagor. He's always gonna be reminded that Jefferson's sitting next to him in the locker room. But yeah, I think all that being said, the Reagor move is fine. I think where it leaves me though is I'm not thrilled with where the wide receiver depth is today compared to where it was 2 weeks ago, when it felt like we had an abundance of potential options, and now outside of the top 3, I'm not really thrilled with either Reagor or Naylor. So that's kind of my concern is Thielen pulls a hammy. And then there's going to be a lot of Jalen Reagor, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, he was 182nd out of 210 or something in terms of pass catchers on catch percentage. So there's a lot of things that boil into that, but he only had a 57% catch percentage, which is not good. So it could have been bad quarterback play, which is definitely part of it, but also he's got a lot of drops. So there's a lot of question marks with him, and I don't love the idea of seeing him on the field a ton unless, things drastically improve. So
I think the benefit of it though is, and I'm trying to be a little bit optimistic about it because I really liked Jalen Nuego coming out. I thought him and Jeff Gladney were like prototypical Mike Zimmer draft picks, or Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer, like that. The way they were running the team at the time, it just made sense to me. Like he's very fast, but he's also kind of got a mean streak to him. Something about those guys coming out of TCU, they just kind of seem violent, and I think that kind of fit the team. What I like about this addition is I don't think he's going to be on the field a ton. I do think that this season, if he is on the field, I think he's not Cousins' second or third read even. I think he's going to be pretty far down the list, probably below the tight end at that point, and I think he's just going to be a body out there almost. And if he gets open and he makes a couple plays, that's great. I hope, and this is again me trying to be optimistic, I think this is a great situation for him to find himself in. This is a team that historically throughout my lifetime has developed wide receivers at a very high level and has had some very good wide receivers come through this building. I guess not this building exactly, but you look at the history of guys like Moss, guys like Diggs, guys like Sidney Rice, guys like Adam Thielen. I mean, these are, this is a franchise that always seems to have one guy on the team that's just an absolute stud. I think he can come in, hopefully, play a season or two with us here in Minnesota, and hopefully make the smallest of impacts. What I do like about the decision, without having to be optimistic at all, I do think he immediately becomes the punt returner without question. And I know he's had some drops in his career, but he has done it more consistently in real life NFL games, where it counts. Name of the episode is This Game Matters. This game means something, excuse me. So when it means something, he has caught punts from NFL punters, and he's taken a couple of them to the house. And I think that is ultimately kind of why I kind of led you with that question. And I think that's why they go with Jalen Nuego over ISM. ISM, I don't think impressed anybody with his punt return ability, and I think the biggest part of that was he probably, and I didn't go to any of the practices, I think a lot of that is he probably muffed and dropped and didn't secure the ball well enough. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Do you have anything? I'm going to give this to you. I was never the biggest Armon Watts fan. I thought he was good. I thought he was like a rotational backup piece. I thought he was solid depth. Are you an Armon Watts guy? Were you shocked by that cut?
I think, frankly, I was more shocked by kind of the foregone conclusion that he was going to start. I think, he's been fine. And I think part of his, his starting role was deemed based on the scheme, right? I mean, you got to have basically 3 defensive tackles when it comes down to a 3-4 or a 3-4 scheme. So there's, in a way, it was by necessity, but I think I was honestly a little more like, oh, Armon Watts is starting, I guess. So when we flat out cut him, similar to the ISM cut, it was a little bit interesting. Like, he seems like a guy that you could have got something for.
Right.
Based on the little bit that we know about Blacklock from Houston, he doesn't seem like an upgrade. He seems like maybe a monetary upgrade because we saved some cap space, which it remains to be seen if Kwesi's going to do anything with that. So I don't know. I don't have a huge opinion on it really either way. I think it's in my mind, it honestly seems a little bit more inconsequential than even the Smith-Marsette cut.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was, I saw a really good take. I don't know where I saw it. I'm very sorry. It was swapping out somebody who we kind of know what he is and he's solid for somebody who has a high ceiling, and they're kind of trying to cash in on that high ceiling and see if he can become something pretty great. Do you want to talk about the Green Bay Packers?
Yes, please. Also, one quick thing back to your TCU comment. Blacklock is also a TCU grad, so there's something there. Purple to purple. I don't know.
Yeah, I get. I'm not gonna lie. I remember seeing like Andy Dalton come out of TCU whenever I was a kid, and he came to the Bengals, and I remember watching those highlights and being like, God, that like the black and purple, that's a clean combination. I guess I shouldn't be shocked by it. I have like a grayish and blackish purple school that's like right down the road from me, but their jerseys aren't as cool. Not like nowhere near as cool. But anyways, I did kind of lie.
Tell me about the Packers. Or go ahead.
We can't go straight into the Packers. We have one more thing on the agenda before the Packers, and that's record predictions. And we can do these pretty quickly. I don't think we're going game by game. I don't have any cool graphics pulled up to go through and select and put little W's and L's next to anything. But 17-game schedule, which I'm still getting used to. I can't tell you how many times I've told people I think the basement for this team is 8-8, and they look at me like I have 19 heads, because apparently everybody else has made the adjustment to no, they have to be 8-9 or 9-8. There is no 500 anymore. But I'll go ahead. I'll kick it off just super duper quickly. Realistically, in my heart of hearts, I think this team wins 12 to 13 games this season. And that 13, if they win 13 games, it's because they beat the Bills. That's like just straight up. I think if they are a 12-win team, they can make the championship game. If they're a 13-win team, they have beaten the Buffalo Bills, and they are going to the Super Bowl to lose to the Buffalo Bills. So I think the division is firmly in play. We'll talk about Green Bay and my opinions on them in just a little bit. I think the division's firmly in play. I'm going to be disappointed if this team doesn't achieve at least 9 wins. 9 wins is kind of okay, these guys at least know how to coach football and put a team together. That's kind of where I want to see them be at. And I think we've seen the offense didn't change too much. I think we've seen what the offense was capable of with Mike Zimmer and his litany of offensive coordinators. Let's see what one guy who knows all NFL offensive football can do. So my official prediction is 12 wins unless we beat the Bills, and then it's 13. But Will, how many? This is going to be the worst joke I've ever made since you've been on this show. How many good wins do we get this season?
Well, the definition of a good win is up for debate, right? I mean, is beating the Bears at home a good win?
It's a great win. It's a great win.
You're gonna be there, so
beating
that
the
is a
Jets.
good win.
Beating the Jets is not a great win, but any divisional win, I am gonna be there. That didn't even register. That's in like a month. God, I'm excited. Anyway, how many wins we getting?
I think we'll go 11-6, and I'm gonna write a piece on it. Kind of a short, quippy piece, I think, in the next couple of days, breaking down game by game. I'm not going to go into super depth. I have some quick opinions, and I'll put it out there. But I think 11-6 is where this team will end up. I frankly would be disappointed if they win less than 10, just because I think the schedule is weak, and I think they have a lot of the teeter-totter flip-flop games at home. They only play 7 true road games. The schedule really works in their favor, and so I really think that 10 wins should be the least of the lowest expectation, and I think they'll win 11 though.
I think that's solid. I think the one thing that whenever I look at the schedule, and I don't have it exactly in front of me, but I can think of 3 games right off the top where even the really good teams that we play this season, I have big question marks. I have big questions about them. We play the Saints. Jameis Winston, that's the question. That's the question, right? Like, how good is he? They could have the best defense in the world. Can Jameis Winston manage a game without giving it to the other team? Green Bay, we'll get there. Spoiler alert, I don't know who's catching balls. Hopefully Aaron Jones, because he's in my fantasy backfield. But, I don't know who's catching the ball. So, I just feel like, I don't know. It's going to be a fun season. I think that's for sure. I don't know. I'm just I think everyone's kind of tired of this 500 football. It's time to get back to the playoffs.
Exactly.
It's where we belong. And maybe someday we will, win a Super Bowl and get to, I'll get to buy a big fake Super Bowl ring and it'll be great. But
Eventually.
do
But
you
tell
have
me
any?
about. Go ahead, and then I was
Well,
going to switch subjects.
okay, cool. That's what I was literally gonna say. Do you have anything else on this, or is it Green Bay time finally?
But let's get going. So tell me about some of your. I mean, you've teased some of your Green Bay thoughts, and
Absolutely.
I think I want to ask you how you view Green Bay, especially in light of Week 1. We can look at Green Bay at a higher level, maybe in a different episode, maybe when we look at more of the division at large.
Yeah.
But for this game specifically, I want your thoughts on how you think we match up with them and kind of what your thoughts are for that team moving into Week 1.
Yeah, well, at Will Goodwin wrote a really good piece for Vikings territory that everyone should go check out, going into some of the really good matchups and everything. And I'm going to steal one from him here because I kind of text this to you earlier today, and I hope you're not upset for kind of stealing this. But I text you about it after I read the piece. I think that the most important matchup on Sunday is in the trenches. It's the Vikings offensive line and it is the Packers defensive line. If we let Kenny Clark and the other Smith brother, if we let them rain havoc upon Kirk Cousins, then this fun, electric, explosive offense isn't going to really be able to do anything. And I want to see Justin Jefferson, break 2,000 yards. I want to see Dalvin Cook just shred defenses. We can't do it if we don't have at least a solid offensive line, let's say top 12. And I'm excited to see Ed Ingram get out there. I'm excited to see if Garrett Bradbury benefits from this new scheme. There's a lot of questions on that offensive line, and I think we're going to get those answers on Sunday as we see them go up against what everyone is saying is going to be a pretty good defense in Green Bay, specifically on that line. What's your key matchup, if you will? Which one do you have your eyes on?
Yeah, I mean, so you already talked about the line and the trench play, and so I don't need to double up on that. One thing I'll just mention on that, though, so this piece that Jordan mentioned that I wrote was detailing the 3 Packers players that the Vikings need to contain in order to win on Sunday. And number 3 was Preston Smith, outside linebacker. Number 2 was Aaron Jones, and then number 1 was Kenny Clark, their big nose tackle. And I got a couple different Packers fans who are friends of mine follow up with me and say, "Where's Rashawn Gary?" So apparently Packers fans are overly thrilled about him this season, which I think is fair. I think I'm going to take sort of a different take on this question because I already wrote about it and you looked at it from that perspective, and I'll get into the whole trenches from the other side with my final take. I think the interesting matchup, which it's not sexy by any means though, is the Vikings' questionable defensive backs and the Packers' questionable wide receivers. Aaron Rodgers is great, and we know that. But Aaron Rodgers also only threw the ball to Davante Adams last season. You look at the numbers, you look at the targets, it's not close. Davante Adams had twice as many targets as the next closest Packer. So Rodgers is going to have to adjust he's going to have to adjust who he trusts in this passing game. And apart from Randall Cobb, who we really trust, but frankly isn't very good anymore, he's got Sammy Watkins, he's not terribly old, but he's had a lot of injuries and he doesn't have a quick step anymore. And then also Alan Lazard, who's actually, I think he sat out practice on Monday. Doesn't mean he's not going to play on Sunday, but that's something to keep an eye on. Other than those 3, it's 3 rookies and an unproven second-year guy. So Aaron Rodgers doesn't have guys that he trusts on the outside. And I'm really interested to see if he lets it rip or if he is tentative in the pocket.
Absolutely.
And the thing that we will see with Rodgers, if he does get tentative, is he throws the ball away a lot. He doesn't take a lot of sacks. He doesn't fumble, but he throws the ball away a lot. So that'll be something interesting to see. Or if he's just feeding the ball to Robert Tonyan and Aaron Jones. If that's his passing game, I think the Vikings should be able to contain that because back to my original point with this, the Vikings defensive backs are questionable. They're young. Cameron Dantzler has not shown his ability to be consistent. Patrick Peterson's also lost a step. So It's kind of a weakness against a weakness. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see who comes out on top with that one. Um,
I think both teams are looking I think both fan bases will tell you like, oh no, it's a strength. Like no, like I like Andrew Booth's going to be really good, and Patrick Peterson's going to play like he's 22 again. Like I think both and like Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs. That's like both of them are just tiny little Justin Jeffersons. Like they're both just great. They're elite, and so I think it's like you said. I think that's a really interesting take to look at. I do want to say really quickly before we do like game balls. I guess this kind of plays in with my game ball. So if you're new to the show, we do a weekly game ball where we predict who is going to get a game ball on the offensive side and defensive side. We usually flip-flop each week. This week I'm going to do offense, and Will is going to do defense. And I'm going to kind of bundle my game ball with kind of a take, and then I'll pass it off to Will probably to kind of end things. But I really want to see how Cousins plays. I keep hearing him say things in interviews that lead me to believe he's leaving the door open to blame something. Like, he keeps saying, like, I want him to just be like, yeah, I get this offense. I think this is one of the best offenses I've ever been in. Like, this is going to be a fun season. Like, I just want to see him have that little bit of swag on his step, a little, say some things with his chest. And he keeps saying things like, I think I'll know the offense better week 2 than I will week 1. And it's like, no, Coke. I know, yes, obviously you will, but like, tell me that you're going to throw for 500 yards and you're going to break the all-time passing record this season. Tell me you're going to be Peyton Manning in his prime this year, buddy. Like, so I'm excited to see him against a good defensive line and against a Green Bay secondary, which is the opposite of a question mark. That is an elite secondary that Green Bay has themselves. And I'm excited to see how Cousins can throw the ball into some tight windows to some really good wide receivers. And that takes me to my game ball and my final point of the night. The game ball, I try to go with underdogs. I try to go with sleepers. I won't this week. This week's game ball is going to Justin Flippin' Jefferson because I think this is just the first stop on the road to breaking the all-time everything record. Maybe not catches, but he's going to break the yardage record this season. He's going to be consensus wide receiver 1, maybe 2. I don't know. Jamar Chase is pretty good, but I think he's going to have a really big game on Sunday, and he's going to need to. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. Jefferson's going to shine in this new offense in that Cooper Kupp role, and I know that's what everybody's saying. That's not a hot take, but I'm taking a safe bet. The offensive MVP this week, the game ball goes to Justin Jefferson. That's my final I guess I should say, I think the Vikings are winning this game, and I think they're winning this game by 10 points. I do think that the Vikings offense will be able to play better than their questionable defense. I think that that's the approach we're going to take going into this season, and I'm confident in O'Connell's ability to call an elite game plan and let the offense. I mean, it's felt like this offense has had handcuffs on it for so long. They're uncuffed. They're free. Go get them, boys. Like, sick them, get them. So really excited to see the Vikings pull this one out. I'll give the official score prediction of 35-21. A nice, just clean 2-touchdown victory. I won't say any field goals get kicked, because I hate talking about special teams. But that's all from me. Thank you, Unified Athletic Wear. They gave me this hat. Will, your hat is on the way. They sponsor the show. They're great people. Head to unifiedathleticwear.com. Follow the show on Twitter at LTB Vikings. Follow Will on Twitter at WillBadLose. And there's something else. Oh, sub to the YouTube channel. You're here. You're watching it on the YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button. Come on. I mean, I'm lovable. I'm a handsome man, I think. Just sub for me. Like, just give me the subscribe button. Will, that's all I have this week, man. It's been a pleasure. That floor is yours.
All right, enough with the advertisements there, Hawthorne. Let's close it up with a game ball on the defensive side. I buried the lead earlier that one of my takes from my article that I wrote was regarding the trenches, but from the flip side, from the Packers offense to the Vikings defense. Along with my idea and my perception that Rodgers doesn't have receivers that he trusts yet, Packers are going to have to lean heavily on a running game this week. The Vikings have struggled against the run in the last couple of seasons. And so it's something where Green Bay, you would assume, feels a little bit of confidence to load up with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. So I see that being a primary focal point of the Packers offense. And so Vikings are going to have to respond. They're going to have to stop the running game enough to force, this is going to sound blasphemous to say, but to force Rodgers to make throws to rookie wide receivers on 3rd and longs. And so I think the big game and the game ball on the defensive side is going to be Harrison Phillips. He was all over the field in training camp. He was throwing Garrett Bradbury around like a China doll. And I think his big chubby face and lovable smile is a little bit of a mask for how ferocious he is when he's on the football field. And so I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see him get after it, and I think he'll have the biggest game. It might not show up in the stat sheet. Something that nose tackles often have happen to them as a byproduct of their position is they often take double teams, and so then that leaves the ends in a 3-4 set to make most of the tackles, or the outside linebackers to make more of the tackles. And so he might not show up a ton in the stat sheet. But I think Harrison Phillips is going to have a massive impact on this game. He needs to if the Vikings are going to have a chance to win.
I love it.
So that's all I got.
Absolutely love it.
That's all I got. I think the Vikings will also win. I think it's going to be a little more low scoring, also by 10 points, 27-17. I think it's going to be a well-played game. It's going to be a tight game, but I think at the end, Minnesota will pull ahead in the 4th quarter and win by 10. That's all we got this week. Jordan, any final words from you?
Nothing. I mean, it's going to be, and I try to limit myself to one of these a month. It's going to be a hell of a season, and I'm so excited to watch some football this weekend.
We will talk to you early next week. We'll have a breakdown of the Packers game, and we'll look ahead to week 2, a quick Monday nighter at Philadelphia. That's going to be an interesting one. So we'll talk to you again early next week. And as always, Skol.